quit my job at the grocery store soon after because I would still have rushes of fear go through me every time I left work at night. I live alone in a very small 2-bedroom house in my town. It's a quiet suburban town on the outskirts of a large city. My dating life has been pretty hectic for the past couple years, having bad experiences with relationships. I took a year off trying to focus on myself and not let anyone new into my life. While this did help me feel better most of the time, it didn't help with some things. This happened just a few months ago, and it still has me really shaken up. I was upstairs changing out of my work clothes when I heard a knock at the door. I dressed up and went to the front door, looking out the people, but I didn't see anyone on my porch. I opened the door and stuck my head out looking around, but there was still no one there. I closed the door. I thought it must just be a prank or maybe someone that had the wrong house. I went about my night forgetting about it. The next morning, though, I woke up to a knock at the door again. It was 6 a.m., which was a bit earlier than I had wanted to get up, so I stayed in bed. An hour or so later, I checked to see if there was a package delivered, but there was nothing. That's when I started to feel uneasy, knowing that there was someone knocking at my door at different times of the day for seemingly no reason. I made sure everything was locked up before I went to work. I told a few of my friends at work about the strange knocking, and they all seemed to think it was really creepy, but nobody had any ideas on what to do about it. I left work that night, even more uneasy, driving down my neighborhood road. A part of me didn't even want to go home because I was worried that the knocking would continue or even escalate to something much worse. When I pulled in front of my house, though, I saw a figure standing at my front door. I stopped the car halfway in the driveway. The person heard my brakes skid and immediately ran away. They went down the sidewalk and around one of my neighbor's houses, running off into the woods. I stayed in my car, too scared to get out. In short, I called the police and an officer came to talk to me. But there was nothing that could be done without a way to identify the person, and they hadn't necessarily done anything wrong yet. The officer left, making me feel no safer than before. 2 more days went by, but there were no more knocks on my door, and I never saw anyone standing by my house during those days. Then, on a Wednesday after work, I got home at 7, parking in my garage and walking inside. I went right upstairs and changed clothes, then went back down to make dinner. As I flicked on the hallway light, I saw a man sitting at the table in my kitchen, just 10 to 15 feet away from me. He was already looking at me, and it was then that I recognized his face as that of my ex-boyfriend from the year before. He had no emotion, just looked dead inside. I was so scared, I wasn't sure what to do. He calmly asked me to sit at the table with him, but I was frozen standing in the hallway. He said he just wanted to talk to me and that he wanted my forgiveness from our short 1-month relationship last year. I knew he was very unstable, and that was the biggest reason for ending things. The whole time he was talking, reciting this memorized speech of some sort, I was thinking of any possible way to get out of this safely. All I could think of was to run back upstairs and call the police. So that's what I did. I sprinted up the stairs and locked the door behind me, dialing 911 as he banged on the door, screaming at me to let him in. I was in tears, hearing slight cracks in the wood as he fiercely kicked and punched the door. Then he stopped and started talking again, in a creepy, peaceful manner. I told him I would talk to him outside and that I needed to feel safe if we were to get back together. He paused for a moment, then agreed. I heard his footsteps walking downstairs. Minutes later, police showed up. I heard an officer yell for him to stop, but he was able to get away. Not for long, though. They arrested him a day later at his apartment.